This is Nightline.
Tonight, new details and theories of the Idaho college murders, just days after Bryan Kohberger's stunning plea deal.
There was consensus that it was Maddie that Kohberger was going for.
The unlikely writing duo, including best-selling author James Patterson, behind crime blockbusters like Along Came a Spider.
I happen to like spiders.
Pinpointing what they say was the criminology student's biggest mistake.
He almost committed the perfect crime.
And what they say was lost when Kohberger pleaded guilty. Plus, Superman soars. After a blockbuster opening, the red-hot newcomer now wearing the cape.
Hey, buddy, eyes up here.
Taking over the film role originated by the unforgettable Christopher Reeve. His interview with the legend's son, ABC's own Will Reeve.
To have your dad have played the role with such commitment and joy, and then to watch him become a symbol of human perseverance. It defined the character.
What he had to do to get into Superman's shape for the role. And Beyoncé break-in. Unreleased music from the superstar reportedly stolen in Atlanta. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, shocking insights and theories in a case that gripped the nation, the Idaho college murders, brought to light by a team that includes a man well suited for such work, best-selling crime and thriller writer James Patterson. Here's ABC's Kenna Woodworth.
Nearly 2 weeks after the shocking plea deal that avoided sending Bryan Kohberger to trial, stunning new details from those closest to Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin about what they believe was the motive behind Kohberger's brutal murders of the 4 University of Idaho students.
For people who have followed this story, we wanted to give them closure.
James Patterson has authored more than 100 New York Times best-selling novels, some even turned into movies like Kiss the Girls and Along Came a Spider. Morgan Freeman playing Patterson's signature character, Alex Cross.
I happen to like spiders.
And now he's working with investigative reporter Vicki Ward on a new nonfiction book, The Idaho 4, An American Tragedy. The duo conducting over 300 interviews with people that have ties to the case, including family and friends who believe Maddie was the target.
When you share this thought of how and where did he find these girls, was there a bit of a consensus among the friends?
There was consensus that it was Maddie that Kohberger was going for, and the victims' families, I think, would all agree with that. You know, everything points to that.
Moscow police allege the culprit's cell phone records show his phone appears to have been close to the King Road house on at least 12 occasions between August and the night of the murders in November, almost always late at night. It all began the night of November 12, 2022. Kaylee and Maddie, newly 21 and lifelong best friends, went to a popular campus bar around 10 p.m. They're later seen at the grub truck, laughing, ordering food. Authorities say Xana and Ethan, both 20, were at a fraternity party earlier that same night, arriving home around 1:45 a.m. It would be the last hours of their lives. According to court documents, between 4:22 a.m. and 4:24 a.m., one surviving roommate, Dylan, texts the other to say she saw a man clad in black. I'm freaking out right now. No, it's like a ski mask almost. The other surviving roommate texting back, run, down here.
Tell me a little bit about how the description of what Dylan experienced came to life in the book.
It sounded so surreal to them all, because she said he had a black mask and he looked like he was carrying a black vacuum. And they're sitting there thinking, who could this be? And, you know, what on earth has happened?
Hours later, one of the surviving roommates calling 911.
911 location of your emergency. Something is happening.
Prosecutors allege Kohberger purchased a K-bar knife like this one from Amazon, along with a sharpener and a sheath, and used that to kill the students. The murder weapon was never found, and prosecutors believe Maddie was the first person Kohberger killed. The knife sheath with his DNA found under her body.
He almost committed the perfect crime. Had he not left the knife sheath, he probably wouldn't have got caught.
After nearly 7 weeks, a major break, Kohberger was arrested at his parents' home in Pennsylvania. The book offers some new details and theories about Kohberger's connection to the roommates, like their friend Emily Allant, who told Patterson and Ward about a recurring nightmare after the murders, saying she imagined that Kohberger went to the restaurant where Maddie worked, expressed romantic interest in her, and was rejected. He then retaliated.
Tell me a little bit about how she explained that dream to you and how you put it into writing.
When they are told that the guy who murdered their friends is this guy, Brian Kohberger, they don't recognize his photo.
Right, a total stranger.
They can't put it together. That's when Emily said the only explanation that she and Hunter could come up with is the story that, we tell as the story of her dream, that Brian Kohberger targeted Maddie.
Last month, I spoke to Emily Allant and her boyfriend, Hunter Johnson. Hunter recalled hearing Kohberger's name for the first time when he was named a suspect.
When the name came out, did you all start talking to each other and try to figure out how in the world this person came into everyone's lives?
My first thought was, who is that? Never saw the person ever in my life.
Hunter was the first person to arrive at 1122 King Road after one of the surviving roommates called Emily.
Emily got a call from Dylan around 11-ish, and then that's when I felt like I needed to go over.
And then what happened next?
I went into the house, and I think that's all I really am going to say.
He was also the one who called 911 that day and made sure Emily and her friends didn't see the grisly scene inside the house.
Is she breathing?
No.
How did you remain so calm in that moment?
It was truly in my heart, I believe God was with me that day, and he gave me the strength to get through that day and to protect the girls and their hearts.
And you mentioned that you felt like he saved you a lot of trauma.
Yeah, I am a completely different person now, but I would also be a completely different person if it weren't for him as well. I couldn't be more grateful.
That day still seared into their memories, waiting to find out the fate of their friends inside that Moscow, Idaho home.
We watched the ambulance come and we watched them immediately leave. So I think that was a hard part for sure.
That second you realize there's no one to be saved.
Right.
You don't ever know when you're really gonna grow up. When's I'm gonna be an adult, I think that was the day where my childhood was left behind and adulthood had to enter.
And after the tragedy, Hunter and Emily left Moscow, never returned, and say they're still plagued with fear.
Are you guys finally feeling safe again, or do you still worry?
I struggle still, if he's not home, I don't shower, I don't like to blow dry my hair.
I think now it's my time to be with her. Now it's my time to be there for her.
Yeah.
When I wasn't there for her originally, so.
Yeah. You grow up not having any fears of it. I was fearless when I was a kid, and yeah, now I fear everything, so.
Now that Kohberger pleaded guilty to all 4 murders, the authors think this book is more important than ever.
I think a lot of people think they know what this story is, but you read the pages of the Idaho 4 because it turns out that actually you don't. And that's the surprise. You're not going to have Kohberger standing in court telling us what happened.
Kohberger is now awaiting sentencing.
Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes.
The deal enraging some of the victims' parents.
Mr. Gonsalves, how are you feeling right now?
I'm pretty let down.
You're let down, you said? You said earlier that you made a deal, they made a deal with the devil. You still feel that way?
Yeah, Brian's the devil.
By admitting guilt, Kohberger was spared the death penalty and waived his right to appeal in exchange for 4 consecutive life sentences.
That's terrible. We let her down. I let my daughter down with trusting in this.
As bad as you could possibly imagine.
But Maddie Mogen's family saying they have closure.
We support the plea agreement 100%.
I understand the mixed reactions from the families. And, I have a lot of empathy for the Gonsalves family, because when you put yourself in their shoes, they've really been kept in the dark and they wanted answers. and now they won't get that satisfaction.
Patterson and Ward are hoping to give readers a true sense of who these 4 students were and all of their promise.
You will meet them and you will feel them as human beings.
I spoke to Stacey Chapin, Ethan's mom, and she did say, which was wonderful to hear, that she's so glad that this book exists because it means that they're not forgotten. It is a tribute to them and their lives.
Our thanks to Kana. The Idaho 4, an American tragedy, is available wherever books are sold. Up next, Christopher Reeve originated the iconic film role of Superman.
Hey, buddy, eyes up here.
We're one-on-one with the actor with a very big cape to fill. Welcome back. The new Superman able to leap tall opening box office totals in a single weekend. The blockbuster star David Corenswet sitting down with someone who has supersized love for the franchise. ABC's Will Reeve.
Is this weird for you?
I wouldn't say weird. I would say it's a little surreal in some way. I don't know. It feels special.
It's special for me, too, interviewing David Corenswet. He's the new Superman.
Superman.
The movie's a hit.
Miss Lane.
Superman soaring to nearly $220 million at the box office in its opening weekend. This is the 8th Superman movie, and I have a deep personal connection to 4 of them. Years before he was paralyzed and became a hero of a different kind, my dad, Christopher Reeve, gained worldwide fame for playing the Man of Steel on the big screen.
Excuse me. That's a bad.
A cornerstone character in American culture, Superman has won the hearts and stoked the imaginations of countless fans. I sat down with Corenswet to talk about his experience donning the cape and tights for the role of a lifetime.
Superman's coming out, and you're turning 32 in the same week.
Yeah.
I must say, it is a bit odd for the first time in my life to be older than Superman. I still look up to you, but more as a friend and a peer than you can't tell me to go to my room.
No, definitely not.
Superman is the biggest role yet for the Juilliard-trained Corenswet. He's played smaller parts in projects including The Politician.
There's more honor in defeat than there is in unused potential.
And Twisters.
Guess we're listening to Dandelions now.
Corenswet dedicated himself to embodying Superman, gaining over 40 pounds of muscle to fill out that unmistakable suit.
Hey, buddy, eyes up here.
Why do you think people have such passion for and strong opinions about Superman as a character?
Well, first, I think a lot of it is because of your dad. I mean, it's so rare that you have a character so effectively portrayed on screen, you know, that makes the actor a global movie star, and they become sort of inextricably linked. And then to have a circumstance in life that puts them in a position where they have a chance to play that part in their lives, but in a public way again, but in a way that feels separate from the film, but not separate from the character and the spirit of the character.
Playing Superman and Clark Kent's love interest, Lois Lane, is Rachel Brosnahan, of the marvelous Mrs. Maisel fame.
They say ambition is an unattractive trait in a woman. Maybe. But you know what's really unattractive? Waiting around for something to happen.
Corenswet's Superman is a slight departure from past depictions of the character.
My dad's favorite quote, which you're familiar with, is, "A hero is an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles." That defined his life. What I was struck by in watching this movie is throughout the film, Superman, he's not as invincible as we think of Superman being.
The thing that hadn't been fully explored with Superman up until this point were sort of the day-to-day struggles of being Superman that aren't, you know, the epic kryptonite, but just how much work it is to be Superman.
What is this? I do wonder, and try to pretend like you're not talking to me when I ask this question. Do you wish that My dad, the way he played his character, and then the subsequent final 26 years of his life hadn't been so celebrated and iconic in multiple ways. Would that take the pressure off of you right now?
Not for a second. No hesitation. And I'll tell you why. I think I identify with your dad, but I was supposed to pretend that I'm not talking to you. You don't have a pair of glasses you could
I don't. I have great eyesight.
Yeah. I felt uncertain about whether it would go well, whether I would be any good, whether I'd be up for the challenge, and then ultimately whether I'd turn out to be what audiences wanted or expected or would enjoy.
Before beginning filming, Superman director and DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn screened Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, a recent documentary about my father and family for the Superman cast.
And it starts with your dad's uncertainty about taking the role, leaving the theater, the criticism of sort of you're selling out and this movie's never going to work. Nobody's going to want to watch a superhero on the big screen. But then obviously looking back on it, you know the huge success that it was. And to think about my own dad, who I lost 6 years ago, I was very close with him, and in moments like this, you often think about, he's missing out on this, what would he think about this? I felt so lucky to think of your dad in the same way that I think about my dad, which was certainly encouraging us. It's the same feeling I had when you came on set. Everybody's been asking me about what was it like having you around, and the fact that you're his kid is obviously, it means something.
And it also meant something to me.
They're funded by the Lord Tech Corporation.
I have a cameo as a journalist on a, let's just say, busy day in Metropolis.
We were visiting for like an hour, and all of a sudden, I hear a very deep voice like, "Hi, Will." I look up, and for a second, I didn't think you were my dad, but I was like, "Dad, no, David? Okay." And in that moment, I was like, oh, he's fully Superman.
The feeling that I have, the great thing about what your dad did for the role is that I don't feel like it's my role. I feel like I'm a steward of it. And you don't have to be Superman, you just have to represent him well on Earth.
Our thanks to Will. When we come back, a Beyoncé burglary has the Beehive buzzing, what police say is now missing. And finally tonight, unreleased Beyoncé music allegedly stolen. Atlanta police searching for a suspect accused of breaking into a car belonging to 2 employees of the superstar in town for a string of shows on her Cowboy Carter tour and stealing 2 hard drives containing the unreleased material, Beyoncé's show plans and future set list. Police say they've reviewed surveillance video and identified a suspect who is still at large. And that's Nightline for this evening. Catch our full episodes on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+. We'll see you right back here same time tomorrow. Thanks for the company, America. Good night.